What's up, guys? I'm here to, I guess, I've been having a few things on my mind recently, and one of them has been this idea of rewiring your brain for the best. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I feel like, especially in this day and age where everything is so easy and handed down to us, you have what's called the beaten path. And what that means is someone has basically gone through trials and tribulation to figure out what the best choices and decisions are for you so that you don't have to put that time and effort into doing that. Now, the good thing about it is that it saves you a lot of stress, it saves you a lot of time and energy and having to figure something that could potentially take you lifetimes or decades to do. Now you can just go online and read an article or read a video, and someone can show you practical, exact steps that you can take not to do that, not to spend that time. Now, the sad part about it is that it kind of kills creativity and it kind of keeps the box going, if that makes sense. What I mean by that is instead of basically always looking at each moment has one unique moment, has instead of looking at each decision or situation has a unique situation or a unique decision that you have to make, you tend to just go on what I call autopilot or groupthink, and you just basically refer back to what other people have made in that situation before. The good thing about that is, like I said, it saves you time, but the bad thing is it kills creativity. It kills what basically could have been something new in the world. So, say for example, you're wanting to design a vehicle, right? And instead of thinking about how you can make the vehicle levitate off the ground and fly, you're just going to be more worried about making it have wheels and tires and an engine and all the conventional stuff that all the other vehicles have. The problem with that is that this does not move us forward as a, I guess, species, as human beings. We do not move forward by repeating the same things that other people have done before. That's that whole idea of, yeah, madness is doing the same thing over and over expecting a different result. So what I'm trying to say is for us to really fly. Like, I fully believe we can fly, and I feel like everybody somewhere in their heart feel capable of the same thing. If we're trying to fly, if we're trying to learn how to fly, trying to make this physical body levitate off the ground, we have to rewire our brain into thinking about the way we move, the way we breathe, the way we see energy and interact with the environment in a way that is completely different than we have done before or we have done up until now. Because if all we ever do is learn how to walk and do the same things that other people did to learn how to walk, and we just stay in that walking mindset of I can only move like this, then all we're ever going to do is just move like this. But if we're rewiring our brain, basically flipping the script on that, instead of thinking about how can I move this way, what about if I move this way or that way or this way, that kind of changes the game completely, because now you're literally creating something new. And that's what I've really been thinking about a lot recently too. And I guess there is no easy way to rewire your brain. I mean, what does that really mean? To me, that just means that you have to basically be able to look at the multiple angles of reality. Something else I've really been thinking about is basically you have to learn to accept the gray area, learn to accept the ambiguity. Basically, be able to take a topic or a situation and see the two sides, and then see more than the sides that are shown. For example, abortion, right? Um, some people say it's bad because it's killing of a baby. Other people say it's good because the mother can't support that baby. And so bringing that life into such miserable conditions is almost like the death penalty, but on an extended level, extended version over a period of time. You're literally killing yourself simply because you want to prove a point. You know, things like that. Like, there is never a right answer. And I feel like this is what we need to move forward. We need to stop trying to look for the right answer in everything and just find the one that is correct in that moment. That's why I really love meditation and that idea of being present to the moment. Because when you're present to the moment, instead of reacting and basically falling back to autopilot behaviors or answers or decisions, you're just there. You're just sitting there, and it comes to you, and then you respond. You respond instead of just lashing out or reacting. Those are two very different things, and if you can understand the subtlety of that, I think you'll be able to move mountains. Because I've personally seen this, just that, changing that my mindset in a way that seeks to respond to the moment as opposed to reacting. And I've basically seen what they call magic, and it sounds weird, but I don't know how else to put it. So I guess part of rewiring your brain means that you have to basically be able to flip something and see it 3D or 4D or 5D. Basically, try to see all the possible angles that you can see. And then at the end of the day, just be okay with saying, well, there's so many angles, so many sides, so many points that are good and bad, so I'm just not going to choose. And just be okay with not choosing at all. You will basically be so much further ahead than those who basically try to stick to something and stay firm. Because we all know being dynamic and flexible will always win over being rigid. And that's just the end of it. I mean, that's the point at the end of the day. So what I've done basically to kind of cultivate this, what I'm talking about, I've tried to just flood myself with as many different influences as possible, whether they be, what do you call it, generally socially accepted or not, whether they be incredibly traditional, conservative, or incredibly liberal. And then what I've basically tried to train myself to do is just accept that there is nothing to make of this. You'll never really have an accurate sense of what is real or not. You'll never really know if the decision you made was good or not. The only thing you will know is that you're following your heart. And at the end of the day, I think that's what matters most. Along with that too, practical things. I try to find as many different skills as possible. So I know that a lot of people kind of look down on what they call dabbling or just jumping into different things. Oh, my son looks so good. Thank you. Hey, look at this girl. It was her birthday yesterday. But anyways, so what I really try to do is just try to learn as much as I can. Whether it be a skill like playing a guitar, whether it be something technical like editing videos, or whether it be something even holistic, kind of like meditation or massage therapy. And what that's allowed me to do is basically connect the dots, see how each industry is related to the other, or see how one aspect of a part of your life is related to the other. So something like being physically active or physically healthy helps with keeping a healthy mental state, or basically being able to move your life in a more spiritually centered direction. Things like that. So I basically just try to make sure that everything that I listen to is balanced. I try to take the negative and the positive so that basically I can be well rounded. Because I think what kills people the most is just always relying on one source. Oh, my parents are telling me this, so I'm gonna just do that. Or my mentor is telling me this, so I'm just going to do that. And again, the reason why that doesn't work is because every situation is different. Every situation is literally a new opportunity to bring something new into the world. So if you're not seeing it through those lenses, you won't ever experiment. It's kind of like that kid, you know. It's just like, he's just like, button, button, button. Huh, what do I do if I do this? What do I do? What happens if I do this? What happens? What happens? You know, today at church, actually, the priest had a really good story, and he said, we're trying to figure out why some kids excel and others don't. And so they took two kids and placed them in a room, and then in the room was a large pile of manure, so poo. And so one kid just sat there as far away from the poo as possible, and the other kid just got in there and just started digging and digging and digging, just like digging in poo for hours. At the end of the day, they interview him, and the kid that sat there basically said that, well, it's smelly, it's poo, what is this? There's nothing to do with this. And the other one was like, man, all that poo just chilling there, it has to be something awesome hidden, a pony, something. So he found it worthwhile to just keep digging because of the possibility of something awesome coming out of it. And that's kind of the mindset that from what I've seen, successful people have. You know, they're just huge explorers, huge. That's what innovating is, in a sense. You're always trying to see, how can I fly, as opposed to how can I build a tire. And that moves the word forward. You know, that's how we're going to be able to fly. It's not by something just dropping from the sky. You know, it's us. And one thing I really, really want to push people towards, especially this new generation, because up until now, the history of mankind has just been surviving. How can I just feed my family, you know? But now that we're at a point where everything is set, where what they call Maslow's hierarchy of needs is being met, now it's, I think, and that's why in like all the texts, whether it's religious texts or esoteric, anything, they point to this time because it's that it's literally that moment of creation, you know. We're no longer just trying to we're no longer just trying to survive, but now we're thriving. We're not only thriving, but we also want to create, you know. Like, I literally spend my days wondering, how do I levitate like a Super Saiyan? What would that entail? What would that entail physically, you know? And then when you think about that, you start thinking on deeper layers. Like, actually, you know, we walk on magnetic fields of the earth. You know, like when we play soccer, the reason why, even though your shot is perfectly placed and like line and should go in, and it doesn't sometimes, something we forget. Well, not only I like to say there's chi, but also I call it that the earth is spinning, you know, and that's something we forget. So that spin has something to do with it. You know, you can literally time your movement to match that pace. Little things like that, you know, and it's like if we all just embrace that mindset, my God, what kind of world would we create? You know? So yeah, embrace the gray area. Embrace not knowing what the right answer is. Embrace the fact that this world is crazy. How one person can come up and do everything right, a businessman, and have move or build his business with a sense of integrity, you know, never cheating people or being honest and all that. While right next to him, there is a dishonest businessman who is a crook and steals from people. Maybe he's a cop and he just like hijacks people's money and then keeps it for himself and then invests in his business. Just accept it, because that's the world we live in, you know. And that's it. Just accept it and then move forward. Don't look left or right. Just move forward. What can I accomplish? What is my response to this current moment? And you can only go up from that point forward. So yeah, hope I gave you guys something to think about, and I'll see you next time. If you found something of value in this, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, or share. Peace!